Hey guys, Yips here, coming at you from the video, and today I want to take some time to talk about opening as a Demonology Warlock in Mythic Plus. I feel like this is important to talk about because as a demo lock, once you get all of your cooldowns rolling, it's a pretty simple rotation to follow. You're just doing implosion cycles, and once that's happening, I feel like the spec really does play itself in the dungeon. So, opening as a demo lock, there's a few priorities you need to think about. Getting your EP buff up, using your bombers, and getting your Tyrant out. These are the cooldowns slash buffs that you want rolling as a demo lock in order to do the maximum amount of DPS, and then once those are out, you can just follow the base rotation of getting Hand of Gul'dan's out and imploding your imps. So as a demo lock, what I like to do is precast a demo bolt to go into the pool with 5 shards, Hand of Gul'dan into Soul Strike, and then Dogs. What this does is it gives time for my imps to spawn from my Hand of Gul'dan, because when you Hand of Gul'dan, the imps don't come out right away, and I've already started my Shard Gen cycle. I've got Shard Gen from the Soul Strike, and my Dogs will give me Shard Gen later on in the pull in the form of Demonic Core procs, because when the Dogs fade, they give me these 2 Demonic Core procs that I can use to later buff my Tyrant in the opener. So just going again from the start, what I will do is I will Hand of Gul'dan into Soul Strike. I know that was a Demon Bolt. Dogs, Implosion. And then instantly after I do that, I will press my Bombers. I got my EP buff out. The Bombers are hitting faster because my haste is higher, and they're doing a lot of DPS. So, Hand of Gul'dan, Soul Strike, Dogs, get enough shards, pressure Battle Scourge Bombers, get them rolling on CD quickly. Very, very important. Okay? After that, the next thing that you want to focus on in your opener is getting your Tyrant on cooldown. Tyrant does a ton of DPS, and you want to be buffing him with imps. Demonic Consumption is absolutely huge for your Tyrant. It makes him do a lot more DPS, and it's important that we try to maximize him the best as we can without delaying the CD for too long. So, in Mythic Plus, again, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Soul Strike, Dogs, EP, put my Bombers out, and now I'm going to start generating. I'm going to generate for my Tyrant. So I'm going to cast one more Hand of Gul'dan, and now I'm going to do my Tyrant cycle. I will EP these guys to get my buff out, and now I'm setting up my Tyrant. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, use 1 global, and then I'll Tyrant. Now, I only used 3 Hand of Gul'dans there because that's typically what you'll get. As a Warlock, sometimes you could have gotten more. Like, for example, there, I probably could have done 4 Hand of Gul'dans, and it would have been just as effective. But a lot of the times you'll only do 3, and the way that you set up those 3 is you set up so you have 2 Demonic Core procs early on because you casted your Call Dreadstalkers so quickly. Your Bombers will be coming off of cooldown after you summon your Tyrant, so you get 2 sets of Bombers in on that pull, and your Tyrant will be doing a ton of DPS. You'll have your EP buff up for him, and it's a solid way to get all of your cooldowns rolling quickly while maintaining all of the buffs that Demonology needs to have. So I'll show you it again one more time. Tyrant's not on cooldown, so I'll just tell him when you press him on the pull, and you'll kind of see how the rotation flows. So let me get up to 5 shards here, and we can start it. Obviously, this opener is a little bit dependent on RNG, because it could be bigger, it could be smaller, depending if you get Soul Conduit procs on your Hand of Gul'dan, depending on whether or not you get Demonic Core procs from the Implosion. There's a lot of things that could go into it for you to do more DPS, but you'll always have a base set of damage that will be really, really good. So, Hand of Gul'dan into Soul Strike, cast your Dogs into EP, get your Battle Scourge Bombers out there. Now we're setting up for our Tyrant, so we'll get up to 5 shards. We'll cast 1 Hand of Gul'dan, which we will implode, get back up to 5 shards, we'll EP these guys, and now we're going to do our Tyrant. So 1, 2, 3, I'll get my Dogs out as my 1 global, and then I will Tyrant. I have my EP buff, I have everything rolling. Have my Dogs coming back off cooldown soon. I'll EP those imps for the first set of Hand of Gul'dan right away to keep that buff up, and now I'll be spamming Hand of Gul'dan. Dogs are back. Use them on cooldown. Everything goes really well in the opener, and it's a really solid way to get your damage out. This does require the key to be a little bit higher. The pull time on this is about 30 seconds of ramp, but after that 30 seconds of ramp, your damage is absolutely incredible. You saw there on 4 targets. I was easily pulling over 40,000 DPS, and this is starting from nothing. You have to remember, a lot of the time, Demonology will start with resources in Mythic Plus. You'll start with excess imps so you can get that EP buff out quicker. You'll start with dogs, you'll start with demonic core procs, which will speed up this whole process, which is why Demonology is a spec that throughout the dungeon you really are just a powerhouse. You're constantly building damage for next pulls on the pulls that you just finished. You're constantly increasing your DPS throughout the dungeon. It's a really, really powerful spec, and it's probably just going to get better the longer the expansion goes. So hopefully this has given you guys a little bit of insight on what you should be doing as a demo lock in the opener, the priorities that you have, get your EP buff out, keep your bombers on cooldown, and how to set up your tyrant properly at the start of a pull. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any comments on other things you found about Demonology and Mythic Plus, put them in the comments, and hope to talk to you guys soon.